the reading habits are dying in this world. If you have that reading habit, that itself gives you a lot of advantage.
I was the quintessential nerd who had 500 notes, whose copies would get borrowed. And that's why education has always been so close to my heart, because I've seen how it's shaped who I am today.
I mean, why should people be afraid of Mondays?
And now I'm in a role where I work like 6 months of the year, I'm working 7 days a week, and I'm doing it with a smile.
All over the world, when I hear the word Jayashree Periwal, I know top quality.
I realized that this is an institution where everybody is primarily focused on the work that they are doing.
Seeking and finding answers to what you really want to do in life, that helps you give clarity. And once you have that clarity, then it becomes very easy. So what is your take on our philosophy of learn by doing?
I think what Masters Union is doing is the need of the hour.
Hi, we have today one of the leading educationist and entrepreneur with us, Akriti Periwal from Jayashree Periwal International School. Akriti, so excited to have you here with us. We have been, as I said, I've been a great fan of your work. We have never met in person, but LinkedIn is a great tool, and I've seen the kind of work that you have done at Jayashree Periwal. We all know as an institution, but also with UniReach. And apart from all these interesting things that you're doing at these two institutions, as a person also, I found great resonance with your values and the, the principles that you stand for. So excited that you took out the time for us at Intersect by Masters Union. And really looking forward to my conversation with you today.
Me too. Thank you so much, Ankur, for reaching out. I'm so happy to meet you today and also appreciating the work you're doing at Masters Union. So it's truly a pleasure to be here today and in conversation with you.
So, Akriti, in this series of podcasts that we are doing, we have hosted some of the leading educators and entrepreneurs also, because we're sitting at Masters Union. We are big on business and we love people who building things from ground up. And the idea remains that we start with a bit of your personal journey so that our audience can get to know you better. So we'll start from there. Your early academic journey. We can start from your family background, your schooling, and then your education in university. So over to you.
Sure, absolutely. So it's lovely to be actually in this city and be conversing about this with you, because I've born and brought up in Delhi. I did my entire schooling from modern school Vasant Vihar through and through. In school, I was always the kid who loved academia. I had glasses. I was the quintessential nerd who had 500 notes, whose copies would get borrowed. So I loved my entire school journey at modern school Vasant Vihar. And it eventually led me to pursue my master's in law at Jindal Law School, and prior to that, my undergraduate LLB at the University of Warwick. The reason I chose these fields, I think, was growing up. We were earlier talking about my love for reading, and it had a key role to play in this decision, because I was thinking about skills that would match, and law came up to be one of them. I always loved debating, also. I loved speaking in school, and it seemed to be the right path to take. So much so that, growing up, my favorite birthday gift used to be when my parents would take me to a bookstore and say, you can buy as many books as you want.
Wow, that is so nice.
However geeky that sounds. Yeah, so that's how. So eventually, I went on from my schooling in modern, where I think I was challenged. I grew. I was thrown out of my comfort zone. I was given a lot of leadership opportunities. Whether I had a badge or not didn't matter to me. So I was part of a lot of community service initiatives, and I think I really, really developed as a person there also. And that's why education has always been so close to my heart, because I've seen how it's shaped who I am today.
I truly believe, first of all, I have deep affinity for people who love books. As someone who loves books himself, I know books open a different horizons altogether. And, these days as a faculty member, because I also teach at OP Jindal Global University, and I keep telling my kids who come to my class that, the reading habits are dying in this world. If you have that reading habit, that itself gives you a lot of advantage. So I'm so honored that you spoke about books and the impact that they have had on your academic choices and your career. Uh, and so topic of books, I won't let you go before recommending a couple of books here that you really feel have left an impact on you as a professional, as a person.
Yes. So the answer to this question for a bibliophile is not so simplistic.
Yeah.
So I'll say in fiction, I think Pride and Prejudice by Jane
Yes.
Austen really
Yeah.
introduced me to the world of classics. And To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee was very significant in pushing that further. And of course, in nonfiction, books that I recommend to everybody, student, non student alike, Eat That Frog is a very
Yes.
important book for productivity. It's great to teach you time management, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a student, whether you're a homemaker. I just think it helps you create your lists and your tasks very well. And I also think Atomic Habits are very
Yes.
important. Ironically, I tell kids to read Atomic Habits even so they pick up the habit of reading a book. And I think just even 10 pages every day teaches you to inculcate that into your brain as a mechanism.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for recommending all those four wonderful books. I am so happy that I have read all four of them and I can vouch that these are excellent choices. Thank you, Akriti. Now, I just spent a couple of more minutes on your academic journey because that has been, really, you have done some amazing work. And Modern School for Sant Vihar is an amazing institution. And then, our connection, mutual connection at OP Jindal Global
Yes.
University. How was it like to be a student
I
at
think
Jindal?
Jindal has played a very key role in also the person that I am today. I was the first graduating batch of the master's program at Jindal Law School. How it happened for me was that I came back from University of Warwick and I had already spent 3 years outside India. I come from a very that way traditional Marwari background, and my father had already pushed his own boundaries of thinking his daughter will study outside and she's so far by sending me to Warwick. So he said, for your master's, there's this university I've heard of. Why don't we go visit it and let's go and have a look? And we went to the Jindal campus, and I think seeing the people there, meeting the professors who were there on campus at that moment really changed my mind. I had gotten into UCL for my master's also in London, but I chose to go to Jindal instead. I was lucky enough to get the Khaitan and Company full scholarship to go to Jindal for 2 years. Thank you. So that was it was a great experience. So I joined campus, and after joining campus also, I think the environment really encouraged me to fly. There was a mock court that our professor encouraged us to sign up for, and we were a new law school, and we went, and we were wondering how would we make it. The entire law school doesn't come with a history or an experience of performing in moot court competitions. So we went for the Asia Pacific regional round, and we were competing against that time law schools of the country, which were legacy, all the national law schools and the giants, if can you say that. And we actually won that Asia Pacific regional round. We were my Thank you. My teammate was myself and my teammate. We were two of us. There were four people from other law schools. And then we went on to the global round. And even at the global round, we got the award for the best written submissions, competing against law schools like Harvard. And we got more marks than them. We beat them to come third overall globally. And this is just when the institution was in its second year. So the entire guidance and preparation that we got from people on campus, because it was a new institution, so we had access to a lot of resources that the entire faculty and professors were bringing in to help us sail through. I had access to amazing internships, which allowed me to test myself and grow, whether it was interning at PepsiCo or whether it was interning at Khaitan or actually placing myself at Ernst& Young right after Jindal Law School in their international trade department in the indirect tax team. So I had a great experience, and I actually found myself really challenged and stimulated.
Wonderful. So, University of Warwick, and then you went to Jindal. I mean, and you were doing so fantastic work. I mean, bringing laurels and working and having internships. So tell me a little bit about how does a lawyer shift to education? So I would love to understand this part of your life.
Very interesting story, and also concept that I had in my head, and something my father told me. So I started working at Ernst and Young, like I said, in the indirect tax team. We were advising the Ministry of Commerce. I had a lot of work on my plate, but I would every Sunday evening get Monday morning blues. I would not
Ah,
look forward to a Monday morning.
yeah.
And then my father said, do you foresee yourself doing this for the rest of your life? That you are in an environment where Sunday means, oh no, few hours, it's like a time bomb is ticking, and you have to head to work on Monday morning, and it's gloomy. Do you want to feel like this? Why don't you quit? I said, but quit, I don't know what I'll do. He said, doesn't matter, quit. You'll figure out what you want to do. And so I actually quit. And I hadn't taken a break till then, till I was quit. So for me, it was back to back. I used to come back from law school. I would the next day go for an internship. I would finish my internship. I would go to law school. There was literally not even a 1 week break. So I decided I'll take a couple of months off at that time. And after leaving my job, I actually met Ayush, my husband, and we started dating. And I was taking a few months off, figuring out what I want to do. Do I want to, start my own startup? There were a couple of ideas that time. I thought of legal process outsourcing. I thought of a couple of things. And I was figuring out what I want to do. And in that time, he proposed and we got engaged. And then he said that, we always need more hands in school, and school is growing. So why don't you look at this? And you're quite the nerd. You've always talked about how you wish you never left school. So come back to school. And that's how it started. So I got married, and the day I landed in Jaipur was a Saturday. Monday, I went to work, and my journey in education began.
So Monday you were at work.
One day I went to work. I said, from day one, if I go to work, then everyone will be okay with it from day one.
Oh,
Yeah.
you really are a nerd.
I really am, but luckily I found a family that encouraged it and supported it.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. You know why, Akriti? Because this Monday morning blues. I have been speaking about this since last many years, and I truly resonate with what you said. I mean, why should people be afraid of Mondays? And your father was absolutely right. We should never be afraid of Mondays.
And now I'm in a role where I work like 6 months of the year. I'm working 7 days a week, and I'm doing it with a smile. I don't complain. I call my students in on a Sunday. Even sometimes, we have our college application season, which falls between Diwali, and we are working on Choti Diwali, and I'm doing it with a smile because I really enjoy it.
And we can see
joy.
it in
Yeah.
your I can feel that energy through your LinkedIn post, and I can see it in your I was reading your profile when we were preparing. I was preparing for this conversation, and I saw you had written there, working 7 days a week.
Absolutely.
And so that is where I tell all my youngsters that you don't need to work a day if you really are doing something that is resonating with you as a
Absolutely.
person. Amazing story. And I really want to also touch upon the role of your father. You had a heartfelt post on LinkedIn on Father's Day, and that really resonated with me. So if you can just speak about your father also, what impact has he
I think my father's had a great impact in who I am, because while I'm saying that I come from a traditional Marwari family in terms of who our family is and was, my father always believed in education for women also. And so he never said that my daughter shouldn't study and my son will study. I have an elder brother, but my father had a belief that my daughter's smart, and if she wants to pursue her law and go to Warwick, I'll send her. His only concern used to always be safety. So he was comfortable to send me there because he believed it to be a safe environment. And even then, so when the moot court opportunity happened, for example, it was in France, and it was a new law school, new place. So it came on my father that, okay, this is the cost and this is what's going to happen, and we have to go and everything. And I said, but you know what, Dad, I've never participated in a mock court before. I don't think we're going to be competing against institutions like Harvard. How will my entry win? I won't win. This is a lot of money. Why should we do it? But then he said, you won't even know if you try. How will you know if you don't try? So go, even if you don't win, it's okay. Enjoy the trip and come back, beta. It doesn't matter. So that's how he always has been.
amazing. And I love that post, and you said that He actually created a resume
He
for
did.
your.
Yeah, he did. So I have four Taujis, and my dad's the youngest brother. So they all told him that, what are you doing? Her biodata reads like a resume. Who will marry her?
I love what he said. The
He-
answer I love. He is a
Yeah.
man of gold. I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
love that line.
he said that only somebody who values that will marry her.
हरे कृष्णा बहुत बहुत सुंदर आई रियली लव दैट लाइन एंड रेजोनेटेड विद मी एंड आई फील यू आर ब्लेस्ड टू हैव अ फादर लाइक हिम इन योर लाइफ सो now coming back to
Yes.
you went to work on a Monday
I went
and
to work on a Monday.
Jayashree Periwal is an institution that is known around the world. It's an iconic institution, not only in Jaipur but around the world. I have traveled to many conferences and in US, and I all over the world. When I hear the word Jayashree Periwal, I know top quality, global institution. So tell us about what is happening at Jayashree Periwal, the story there, and your role.
Absolutely. So, so when I got married and moved to the school, I realized that this is an institution where everybody is primarily focused on the work that they are doing, and everything else follows through. Nobody was engaging with the outside world in terms of marketing. There was no concept of social media in school. There was nobody doing all of that. So initially, when I moved to school, I thought, let me pick up things that people are not doing and that I can start doing as valid contributions to the school. And having studied in Warwick, I had experienced a lot of educational events like the TEDx Youth event and various competitions which were very different in nature. So I started bringing those to the school. JPIS became the first school in Rajasthan to host TEDx, to have the license. And through that, we started inviting and engaging with a lot of IB schools across the country. I had a I have a very strong mentor in the form of my mother in law. So, under her guidance, I learned a lot in the field of education also, working with children, guiding them towards identifying their potential, working towards bringing that potential to life. She's very hands on even today, from greeting people at the door to saying bye to kids when they leave. So, I realized that being focused on the work that you do and being focused on every student, because that's her belief that every student is important and every student is my guru. So I took that and I kind of started learning from there. And over time, I started recalling my own journey as a student. And the only thing that I think I felt lacking in my journey as a student was good career counseling. And I think that's what eventually became my niche and became the field that I became very, very passionate about. Um, realized that I looked at my skill set and identified law, but there was nobody to ask me the question to say, why not English literature? Why not economics? Nobody asked me those questions. University of Warwick was the only school that visited my school, the only university that visited my school. And I got to know about it and I chose to apply. Also, I had reached out to a very popular consultancy that time, which I don't want to name, and I was told that you won't get into Warwick University.
Okay.
So you should apply to XYZ college instead. And I felt my marks were far above. In the list of colleges that was sanctioned by the Bar Council of Delhi, Warwick was the best option for me. And I felt my marks were enough. Why should I not apply? And my dad again said, please apply. We'll see what happens. And I applied and I got in. So, looking back at this, I realized that access to authentic counseling, access to somebody who doesn't limit your beliefs, and also access to an environment which pushes you out of your comfort zone is very key in the whole counseling journey. And that's what I basically sought out to do through my years at the school, for the past 10 years.
No, amazing, and you have done some amazing work, and I think this is a good segue into UniReach and your work there, the phenomenal work that you are doing. If we can speak about UniReach.
Yes, absolutely. So actually, over the course of years, JPIS became very popular across the globe. First time we used to go for a conference, and meet all the universities, whether it's the IACAC or any other conference. They didn't know Jaipur. They didn't know schools in Jaipur. So over time, networking and meeting them and showing them what our students are doing, inviting them to come and see what our students are doing firsthand, Jaipur became very popular on the world map for all universities to visit.
On the recruitment
and
map.
on the recruitment map to see that. And over time, then our results became very popular across the country. Our college placement were known by a lot of parents across the country who, for whatever reason, could not shift their children into our boarding house. And they started reaching out to me through known people. Can you counsel my child? Can you answer this question? And sometimes the questions they would ask me would be shocking to me as a counselor. There would be kids in a rigorous IB curriculum giving APs. There would be children whose interest is in finance, but they are applying for sociology. So it just seemed to be that everyone's teaching children that you should game the system or in some way, or to do extra things, jump through loops that don't exist, putting up hurdles that don't exist. So that didn't make any sense to me in that moment. I felt that if I launch UniReach, I would be one step closer to correcting this misinformation and to actually expanding the authentic counseling to more deserving kids across the country who can't shift to the school. Because it's not about, whether a child is in the school or a child is in a different school. A child is a child. So if a child deserves to be at ABC University, I would love to get them to that university.
And amazing. And I think your lived experience, I go back to your lived experience where you said, you were told that you cannot, you know, make it to Warwick, and then you made it to Warwick, and then these reflections. Okay, I chose law because Warwick was the one that came to your school, and then you felt that this is it. But why not, English literature or those kind of. So I think similar. I mean, you and me when I'm speaking to you, it's like similar experiences because I'm myself an engineer, worked in IT for 3 years, and then I realized okay, this is not I used to hate my Mondays, used to hate my boss, and I was like, is this it? I mean, is this? And the world around me was telling me you have arrived and you have made it. You should now look at US, get a green card, get settled there, get a project. But then I also took a U-turn and said, no, I don't want to do this. And then I came into education, you know, because I felt that probably I can save or help somebody make better career decisions and not make the same mistakes that I did. And and we are human beings. We always have doubts in our heads. I mean, that is auto-programmed that we doubt our own abilities. And and we need I'm a spiritual person, so we need a Jamvan around us to teach us that we are Hanumans. And Hanuman, I think what you are doing with your UniReach is becoming a Jamvan. And I'm saying it because I read your post, and you're like, you talk about every child is unique. When you said it's not about take ticking check boxes in a shade. It is going through loops. It's not that. uh, Seeking and finding answers to what you really want to do in life, that helps you give clarity. And once you have that clarity, then it becomes very easy. And then I truly believe, as somebody who has worked in international education for last 15 years, I mean at Ashoka and Jindal, and then my own work now with Masters Union, I've seen so many brilliant students. And I think uh, every student is a great student. Everybody has unique capabilities. The only thing that differentiates a child who feels he has arrived and child who feels lost is that he or she does not have a good mentor. And what you are trying to do with UniReach is, yes, organization, very good, but you are actually guiding and becoming a role model for these children who look at you and is like, okay, wow, Akriti. No, absolutely. I can sense that. And thank you so much what you are doing with UniReach. And now coming back to, I also read, you going back to your personal life a bit. You're a working mother. And I read up again a post on LinkedIn where you were mentioned such a nice post on how working mothers have it a little tougher. Definitely they do. I have my own wife who is a teacher, and she, my 7-year-old daughter, and she manages that. So when I was reading your post, I showed it to her, and she's like, she's right, absolutely correct. So, so I said yes, but I will. So please talk about that aspect of your life, and how do you, see that juggling your personal life and your professional life at Jayashree Periwal, UniReach, and then.
Yeah. I think there are two very key aspects, that are very close to my heart when it comes to this topic. One is that all of us, especially type A personalities, we chase perfection in every role that we want to do. And sometimes, being a working mom, that perfection goes out of the window for your parenting that you want to. It might be that there's a show and tell coming up on Friday and you forgot about it till Wednesday and you haven't thought of the costume. But luckily, if you are blessed with a village where, once this happened to me, my friend sent me a message, I've called for a costume for my son, I'm calling for one for yours also. Because she knew it was a very hectic week for me and it probably hadn't registered in my mind then. Of course, you learn from each moment. So at that time, I made it a habit. Moment I get a circular from school about an upcoming event, I save the date I want to look after that on my calendar also. So again, comes back to the book, Eat That Frog. So I learned a better way to apply these productivity tools even to my parenting as a working mom. Because if I don't factor that in, it might be something that gets lost. But as a working mom, you learn to let go of that perfection. As long as you are there for the moments that matter, as long as you're there in the journey, as long as you're there for the child, I think having that perfect tiffin or seven different recipes going in is not so important. What's important is the quality of time that you spend with your child. How many books did you read together? How many new experiences have you done together? So I think these are things that you learn to accept. And also, I think you learn to accept that some bit of guilt you carry within you will always be there. Just because you can't always be home when your child comes back home, you learn to accept that. And goes back to the whole focus on quality of time versus quantity of time.
Absolutely. More power to you. That is what I will say. And, you know, parenting in itself is a full time job.
Full-time job, but also you're modeling something great for your child, right? Because today my son knows that mama's meeting is as important as dad's. So you're
Yes,
modeling something great for
absolutely.
your child.
Yeah, I think this is the. You should also talk about Ayush here.
Yes.
If you want to share how has he shaped you as a person, what has.
Ayush always pushes me to go beyond my comfort zone. He loves to keep telling me that fear is an inch deep and fear is a mile wide, but just an inch deep.
Wow,
So every
that's very
time when I'm like,
wise.
oh, I'm nervous about this, should I do this or not? He'll tell me this statement. And so he really loves to tell me that, go explore. So whether it's work or with ZU, Ayush is the wind beneath my wings.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. So, lovely family, and more power to you and the institution, Jayashree Periwal, UniReach, fantastic work. As I was telling you outside, I mean, India needs many more, Akritis.
Thank you.
If we have to move the needle on education, we need people with good heart also. Education requires motivated, inspired people that can be role models, and you are really inspiring a lot of us in the community and also our children. Now, we are sitting at Masters Union, and Jayashree Periwal has been one of our very strong feeder schools. Let me put it this way: we have been getting year on year so many students and excellent students from Jayashree Periwal. Be it our summer boot camps or be it our full-time undergraduate programs, and we are big on learn by doing.
Yes.
And Intersect is all about bridging the industry academia gap. Teaching our kids. Giving our kids education which is relevant, which helps them in building something. So, what is your take on our philosophy of learn by doing and you know uh, making education relevant rather than just bookish?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me that, Ankur, because I think what Masters Union is doing is the need of the hour. We are all living in an era of artificial intelligence. So, book knowledge is at everyone's fingertip. Everyone can be a business expert if you looking at theory alone. What Masters Union is doing is it's taking that theory and putting it into practice so beautifully. So, whether it's through your outclass challenges, or even something as simple as my walk through the campus today, where I noticed that there was no corner without collaboration. I saw no student working alone. Everywhere I looked, people were in groups of three or six or four. Somebody was writing something on a whiteboard for a presentation. Three people were poring over a laptop, discussing something. So that is learning in action. That is your learning by doing, which I simply saw taking a walk through the campus. And the way you help students engage with industry experts, that's where learning comes alive because they are learning from people who are at the brink of things. They're there out there. They're learning from people who are abreast with all the happenings in different industries. So they're going to be ready for the real world when they leave Masters Union because you've brought the real world to them already.
Exactly. I mean, so I'm so happy in your walk around the campus. You were able to realize and see this in action, and that is what we are, trying to come to. Is that collaboration is also key to,
Very important.
success in life.
Very important. Even at school and even at UniReach, we encourage all our students to do collaborative projects.
And just on this collaboration, I find it very sad that our schooling system actually teaches competition.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may agree or disagree, but this is my experience. From a very early age, we are taught, you have to be the best in the class. You have to compete.
Yeah.
Most of the times, students who are in the top 5% of the class are the most competitive
Yeah.
and most averse to the collaboration in most of the schools. And I used to feel very surprised and that carries on. When you go to university, becomes very difficult. Competition. Okay, you don't need to collaborate. The smartest people are the worst collaborators in terms of they don't know how to collaborate because they've always competing to in India in general to get the best marks and clear the exam and best at something. But when you said I saw collaboration in her, I said she's a really wise lady because collaboration is the key. I keep telling my students you need to learn to collaborate if you want to go ahead in life. And I tell success comes not what you again coming back to you. It takes a village to raise a child and to raise even anything in life. You need people around you to come together and build something amazing.
I think the best philosophy is that where collaboration is met with competition. So, where you see, of course, competition is also good because it pushes your inner drive. You have a goal, you have a best friend who's got 5% more than you, and your best friend is also your study buddy. So, you're learning to push yourself to that 5%.
Absolutely.
That's collaboration and competition, which we enforce in school. So we have an environment where even the toppers are. I'm telling you a real example when I say I had two students applying to the same university, which is a top university of the world. And one student told the other student, hey, they require this additional document. I hope you submitted it. So you're competing for the same post, but that doesn't mean that you can't look out for each other.
Wow, this is amazing. I mean, if we can get this, people should inspire each other.
They should.
Yes, there should be competition, but it should not be, that winners takes all. I mean, everybody has unique qualities, and
Absolutely.
everybody can be winner, and everybody can inspire each other in a
Absolutely.
right way.
You can go much further
Further
if you go
than
together.
together.
Yeah.
God bless you, Hare Krishna. This is so nice. I'm so happy that we are resonating on the
We
same
are totally on the same page.
same page. Collaboration is the key. I mean, now, Akriti, amazing conversation. I have had, really enjoyed my time with you. Couple of more questions that I want to ask now are about, the way you see. We just mentioned AI coming in, and we are also seeing a lot of developments with NEP now, and international university is looking at coming to India. We have heard the news about Mumbai, Education City, Bangalore. So there are things happening, and India is opening up good things for us in education. What is your take? How do you see international universities coming to India? Having you have studied in such fantastic institutions, Warwick and Jindal, and I mean, so how do you see?
I think it's been a long time coming and much awaited because this is where we have all the talent pool. And of course, we have a lot of students who go there for that education and then they bring the best of the West and bring it back to our country. But the number of students who can be impacted by that education coming in and helping rebuild the higher education landscape in the country, we've seen so many new institutions which are doing such good work and students are responding. Masters Union is a case and example of that. So if we have more universities coming in and bringing the same philosophy of experiential learning, it's only going to help prepare a better future generation.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, thank you so much, Akriti. It was a pleasure speaking
My
to you. We look forward to having you back again on campus very soon. I mean, Intersect by Masters Union is now a movement. We are a community now. We had our Delhi meetup just 2 days back, and now we are off to Mumbai next month for our meetup there, and we are going to have a mega event in February. Our international level conference where
amazing.
we invite delegates from over 15 countries.
Wow.
So I'm definitely not going to let you go. And today was our first meeting, but
Looking
I'm sure
forward.
we'll have many
Yes.
more
Yes.
collaborations. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Totally been a pleasure to be in conversation with somebody whose values resonate so closely to mine. Pleasure.